Second Sex War by Sidsel Minesh Hansen.
Curation. Clean, diligent in its organisation, well-spaced, pristine, ordered, efficient, flawless. Dehumanised. Humans are dirty, particularly in sex. This is something the curation in the exhibition cleanses. The neatened barrier and borders around the material, cleanly contained beneath screen and away from material world, i.e. the new sex. Clean space, framed work through screens and glass panels, detachment and protection, a divine object or space. Methylene blue, diluted by female ejaculation, is unframed, exposed to the elements, actual, free from illusion, physical tangibility.
Second Sex War includes 3 new commissions: a pornographic CGI animation, a series of laser-cut drawings on plywood, and a large-scale cinematic relief, which is presented alongside existing works. The exhibition explores the commodity status of 3D bodies in X-rated digital image production, while also reflecting on the artist's working conditions and relationships with her peers. The title, Second Sex War, refers to Simone de Beauvoir's book called The Second Sex, a feminist text arguing that women have always been treated like secondary men. The show embodies Beauvoir's critical text by showing a continuous battle of objectification, finding new platforms to present this through digital technology, the virtual world.
I think the artist, with great complexity, interweaves multiple areas of discussion, including female sexual liberation, gender sexuality binary, accessibility, and the body having a commodity status. I think these themes sort of coalesce across the different works in a very detailed way. I think the artist furthers the discussion by understanding them as intrinsic with technology and also the economic growth in a neoliberal context.
Technosomatic. Industrial complex. Commodity status. 3D cyber bodies. Gender binary. Online consumption.
So methylene blue diluted by female ejaculate is a modest A4 drawing on paper, backed onto a completely plain white wall in the gallery. This wall sits in line with the door, so it's immediately to the back of the viewer. It's also positioned directly opposite to a large flat screen, hyper-realistic 3D CGI animation called No Right Way to Come, which is an avatared female masturbating and ejaculating over the screen. This was sort of done in response to a ban of female ejaculation in adult entertainment by the British Board of Film in 2014. I think it's quite self-explanatory in its defiance and this anti-censorship, which is kind of dictating female sexuality in a way that the artist doesn't agree with. I think this sort of touches on the film screening called Passion Bower, Technology of the Orgasm, which looks retrospectively and enters into the historical discussion of the political and patriarchal shaping of female sexuality, and how the invention of the vibrator
eventually came to liberate female sexuality, and I think the artist is entering into that historic discussion by putting these bits of material into the gallery setting in a defiant move to counter the censorship that kind of went on under wraps by the board of film. I think the artist with these two bits of work also considers the audience in relation to the space in which they inhabit, which is between these two opposing bits of work, which speak of the same topic but are quite the opposite in their materiality and form. And I think the artist is using people in this position to contemplate the real and physical, bridging together the physical materiality to hyper-realised cyberspace. And I think she's trying to... I think this is more of a comment on technology and our interactivity with sex and technology both together. I think this kind of use of space and use of the viewer maybe signifies maybe an obsolescence and a relation from the physical, quite organic embodiment towards the newer digitised technology, as this piece of work is far more richer to our senses visually, acoustically, than the small drawing, which is immediately to our backs. It's very small and it blends into the whiteboard gallery. I think this kind of touches on the themes of how far sexuality can be pushed away from the real and into the fantasized cyberspace. And I'm not sure whether the artist makes a strong comment for or against that, but I think it is noted by this relationship that these two pieces of work that mirror each other.
Quietly defiant, positioned opposite No Right Way to Come, viewers sandwiched between two works, dualistic relationship, methylene blue diluted female ejaculation, physical and material based, aesthetically reduced. No Right Way to Come, hyper-realistic, idealistic, CGI animation, finely rendered, sculpture, use of latest technology, separate yet facing, referential to the space, distancing of the approaches to sex, evolution, partnership with technology, body obsolete.
Towards the end of my gallery experience, it came to my attention just how much I had become a victim to the technology in the space due to my inability to spot the piece which offered the most human bodily experience. Methylene diluted by female ejaculation is its media and its title. Described by the artist as low-tech manual craft, it remains the smallest, most discreet piece of work in the space, quietly defined and swamped by the more indulging and gratifying pieces. The artist's relationship to the body of work is extremely personal, unlike the body obsolete woodcuts where Hansen gives in to the power of technology, framing its outcomes as if to preserve and protect them, making them feel like divine and superior objects to their audience. In contrast to the neglected presentation of the female ejaculation piece. It is here where the craft of human labour becomes challenged and overridden by a system that remains free from error and is aggressively perfectionistic. In a similar way to how sex through virtual reality has the ability to eliminate distractions that a human in real life gives, able to experience undisturbed sex entirely controlled by us. Described as an infinite tailoring of sex, the power that VR has allowing individuals to create their own sexual experiences could lead to the idea of sex between one person becoming possible, replacing the desire for human embodied interaction and replacing this with commodity and functionality, placing human relationships at risk, leading to the conclusion that by giving sex to the digital world, surely we are only deviating further from the organic, moving beyond what defines us and our experiences.
So methylene blue diluted by female ejaculate is a modest A4 drawing on paper, backed onto a completely plain white wall in the gallery. This wall sits in line with the door, so it's immediately to the back of the viewer. It's also positioned directly opposite to a large flat screen, hyper-realistic 3D CGI animation called No Right Way to Come, which is an avatar female masturbating and ejaculating over the screen. This was sort of done in response to a ban of female ejaculation in adult entertainment by the British Board of Film in 2014. I think it's quite self-explanatory in its defiance and this anti-censorship, which is kind of dictating female sexuality in a way that the artist doesn't agree with. I think this sort of touches on the film screening called Passion Power, Technology of the Orgasm, which looks retrospectively and enters into the historical discussion of the political and patriarchal shaping of female sexuality, and how the invention of the vibrator eventually came to liberate the female sexuality. And I think the artist is entering into that historic discussion by putting these bits of material into the gallery setting in a defined move to counter the censorship that kind of went on under wraps by the Board of Film. I think the artist with these two bits of work also considers the audience in relation to the space in which they inhabit, which is between these two opposing bits of work, which speak of the same topic but are quite the opposite in their materiality and form. I think the artist is using people in this position to contemplate the real and physical, bridging together the physical materiality to hyper-realised cyberspace. And I think she's trying to... I think this is more of a comment on technology and our interactivity with sex and technology both together. I think this kind of use of space and use of the viewer maybe signifies maybe an obsolescence and a relation from the physical, quite organic embodiment towards the newer digitized technology, as this piece of work is far more richer to our senses visually, acoustically, than the small drawing, which is immediately to our backs. It's very small and it blends into the whiteboard gallery. I think this kind of touches on the themes of how far sexuality can be pushed away from the real and into the fantasized cyberspace. I'm not sure whether the artist makes a strong comment for or against it, but I think it is noted by this relationship that these two pieces of art mirror each other.
What is consuming sexuality? Instant gratification, designed perfectly for our needs without any interruption that would usually come from a human. The quest for perfection and obtaining the unobtainable.
As I entered the GASWORKS Gallery, the sound of sexual club vibe beats poured from behind the large double doors. The beat drew me towards a large flat-screen TV which was suspended from a wooden structure which references Bob Flanagan and Sherry Rose's installation. He explored association with the male body and how partners are equal. the piece, which is called Dick Girl, immerses the audience with the sound pulsing through the body and how this human-like form, which is named Eva, which at first look is a non-binary form. Eva has a more female-shaped body, but yet an luminous fluorescent-lit penis attached to her. This questions if Hansen is portraying that if this form has an luminous penis, that it has more power, and whether women without this are not in control. Eva is wrapped round this blob-like form which references the material clay. She rapidly starts moulding and stabbing the blob, which at first comes across as quite a violent act, but as you later go on to see, she is just moulding the blob form to her desire. This violent act relates to how porn nowadays is known for its violent form, and how an anti-porn campaigner, Dal Dines, views porn as in a violent form towards women, and how men or the younger generation will now have this attitude towards women. On the other hand, as Eva moulds and shapes this blob, you see the references and links to how the virtual reality is known for, and how they all connect in a way that's virtual reality. You can create your own desires and fantasies by creating a person, and how that then connects to how Eva is.
Paradox of sex becoming asexual.
The virtual reality Oculus Rift headset opens many gateways to pornography. With already 80 million visitors on Pornhub a day, the VR creates an even more accessible and realistic experience to create human pleasure without a human relationship being necessary. So what does this mean for the next generations in regards to having sexual pleasure or a partner? Can everyone tell the difference between fantasy and reality? Technology is evolving so much that it's becoming more and more difficult to distinguish between what's real and what's fake. So is Hansen pro-pornography or anti-pornography? The pro-sex feminist expresses the liberation of women's pleasure through ejaculating and being in control throughout the exhibition, showing no signs of being against pornography. Using vast technology as a platform to share how capitalism-driven pornography limits ideas of heterosexuality and how women are perceived nowadays. Hansen communicates strong feminist views but as I noticed walking around the exhibition, there is no male form in the space. It is all about females. Even the artists in Corporation Cunt Art, they are all females come together. So is Hansen saying that there is no need for men for pleasure or sex, or in partnership? Is there no need for men?
Simultaneously, she frames an anti-porn argument in the work. Through her portrayal of post-human, non-binary bodies, she criticises the ideal pornified woman, which creates a culture of self-hate within society. Within the frame of heterosexuality, men are consuming the mass-produced image of the female body. which establishes a culture of misogyny. Theorist Andrea Dworkin argues the overriding principle of porn is male dominance. She emphasises how porn is for male consumption, and the gaze is implied to objectify and to humanise the female. Due to the oversaturation of porn culture, the viewer will inherently internalise misogyny, which has a deep effect culturally. Another theorist, Gail Dines, argues that boys become violent when exposed to violence in pornography